Hello, this is Shelly Ramus, Volunteer Specialist with the Iowa 4-H Youth Development Program. Today I want to share with county staff some of the resources that we have as you begin to onboard new volunteers and help prepare them for new volunteer training. So let's go ahead and get started. Our new volunteer training is a blended learning approach, with volunteers first completing their new volunteer online training modules. These are located in 4-H Online, and then attending the new volunteer face-to-face 3-hour training at one of their local areas. The volunteer checklist for county-based orientation and training is a great resource for your volunteers. You can access the volunteer checklist for county-based orientation at the volunteer management site for staff. Under county-based orientation and training, you'll see right here is the volunteer checklist for county-based orientation and training. The orientation and training resource that you can provide to your volunteers gives them information regarding their online and face-to-face new volunteer training. It includes a link to 4-H Online and also a link to the help sheet to access the online new volunteer modules. Even more information to support county staff with the onboarding and training of new volunteers and information is found in your staff guide for county-based orientation and training, which is also on the volunteer management webpage. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click into the staff guide. I'm going to scroll down to page 4, as I know that's where we begin to talk about new volunteer training. In the staff guide, there is detailed information regarding the blended learning new volunteer training process, as well as timeframes for which to introduce the new volunteer online modules. The staff guide also references the new volunteer notebook, which should be given to the volunteer prior to their face-to-face training, as well as review of the 4-H equation with new volunteers and web pages that you will want to share with your new volunteers. Assure that the new volunteer does register for a face-to-face new volunteer training in their local area. They can find the dates and the registration links on the volunteer training web page that is public. A couple of helpful hints regarding 4-H Online and the online new volunteer training modules. Please be sure to emphasize to your volunteers that the online new volunteer training modules 1 through 4 should be completed prior to them attending their face-to-face new volunteer training, and these are a requirement as part of their new volunteer training. The last thing would be just a couple of tips in 4-H Online regarding the volunteers accessing and being able to complete those online new volunteer training modules. The first would be when the volunteer goes in to create their profile, the volunteer will need to make sure that they check the yes by the "Are you a volunteer?" box. If that is checked no, they won't be able to access or see the new volunteer online modules. So if they're telling you they can't see those modules or they can't find them, it could just be that we need to go in and change that profile to say, yes, I am a volunteer. The other piece is for the volunteer to be able to fully access, complete, and get their certificate for each of the 4 new volunteer modules. County staff will need to make sure that they have approved that volunteer's enrollment in 4-H Online and they are in active status. That should pretty much cover it, and hopefully your volunteers have success in accessing those trainings and getting those completed.